Hey, book talk. So I finished Alchemized, and let's talk about it. First of all, I'm going to give my rating. And just keep in mind that whatever I say in this video is my opinion. Okay. So I give this a 3.5 stars. Um, I'll start with the positives. The book is well written. I mean, the author is a beautiful writer. Um, and you can tell she put a lot of work and effort into this book to give you a unique magic system and world and try to um, show the devastation and tragic that happens in war um, and in love. So the author, beautiful writing. Um, the reason why I gave this a 3.5 stars is because for me, this book didn't touch my soul. I didn't connect with the characters. Um, First of all, if you haven't read this book, it's over 1,000 pages. Let's start there. Okay. So it's a big commitment here. And those 1,000 pages are broken up into three parts. You have part one, that stuff is going on in part one. You're not really sure what's going on. Part two basically explains a lot of the things behind part one. And then part three kind of finishes up the book. Um, when I first read part one, I enjoyed the story. I was very interested in it and was like, yeah, let's do this. Then I got into part two, and part two is the biggest section in the book. I think it's about 500 pages to be, I don't know. Because I think part one is about 300 pages, part two is about 500 pages. Yeah, that's about right. So while part two did explain a lot of unanswered questions that you come about in part one, um, it was too long, and a lot of the things in part two was repetitive and got kind of boring. And even as I started learning about the main characters and some of the side characters, I just didn't really care about them. I just didn't connect to them. So part two took a while to get through for me. Another thing about this book that I did not enjoy is how complicated the magic system was. Um, you have to basically have a glossary and take notes to be able to understand the magic system. I read the whole book and I'm still kind of confused on how the magic system works. There's just like way too many different things. Um, so because I didn't understand the magic system, anytime they would start talking about something, I would have to like flip back or look up or whatever just to try to figure it out. And it never clicked for me. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. But the magic system just never clicked. So that was a little disappointing. The plot and the world building, kind of the same thing. Like it was a little confusing. And so it never really clicked, or I never connected to it. Um, the characters were dry, which may have been the point of the book, especially one of the characters, but I just never connected with them. Book Talk was talking about like, oh, this is going to be devastating and heart wrenching and just, no, no, no. And I can connect with characters. Like I have connected with characters and cried over characters and all of that stuff like that. And this was just like, okay, it's their story. The story was interesting enough for me to continue reading the book. But at the end of it, I was just kind of like, nah. So for me, it wasn't worth reading 1,000 pages of this. And to be honest, I don't think the author should have done it like this. I think she should have broken this up. I think it should have been a series. Um, and then maybe she could have taken her time on each part if she would have broken them out into books. I don't know. But like I said, in part two, it was just a lot of repetitive information. Part three wrapped everything up, but it was okay. It was okay. Should you read this book? Maybe. I don't think it's worth the 1,000 pages. But try it out for yourself. For me, it wasn't worth it. And I think BookTok really hyped this book up. And I wonder if they did it because her first book, Manacle, was so good, which I've never read it or whatever. And so I think maybe the expectations were set high. And I, like everybody else, got FOMO and needed to read this because it was just all over Book Talk, and everybody was talking about how great this book was. And like I said, the writing, it's beautifully well written. If this author releases anything else, I will definitely check it out. But this story wasn't for me. Didn't have any kind of emotional connection to it. So I don't know. I don't know if you should read it or not. Do what's best for you. But I probably will be selling it now that I finished it. And so, yeah, so those were my thoughts. Took me about a month to read this book, and that's all I have.